Hi, this is Amy, and today I'm making a red burlap wreath. I've used the pool noodle form that I showed you how to make in a previous video, which I will link to below. This is approximately a 15-inch diameter wreath. I've painted it with the Santa Red Americana acrylic paint, and while it's drying, we're going to start cutting out the burlap strips. I have lined up the selvage edges as best as I could. This is burlap. It's not a quilting project, so don't get stressed out about that. And I trimmed this edge to be relatively straight, give or take a few threads. What I decided to work with was 4.5-inch squares. They seem to give me a lot of fullness and not be hard to control. So this is my first strip, and what I'm doing is cutting off the stabilization thread at the edge so that you have all burlap to work with. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. I used a skewer and marked 4.5 inches on it so I could easily and quickly set up my guide and slice off my squares. And you can do multiple layers. I have 2 here. And then I just want to cut this one off so that I get rid of that fold. I cut 14 strips, so I have 140 squares. That took a little bit less than 2 yards of burlap. My daughter made one of these and she used almost 3 yards, so I guess it depends on the size of the square and just how thick and full you want it to be. Deciding how to attach it to the pool noodle was kind of difficult. The pattern that my daughter followed asked for you to gather it together and then cut off the part that I'm pinching in my fingers right there. That didn't work very well for me. It just got all out of control. I'm not that coordinated. What I ended up doing was folding them in half and then in half again to make small squares, and sometimes folding them in half diagonally and twice, like folding them twice diagonally, and they made triangles. And it gave a different look to it so that it didn't look too perfect. Then I put glue on the bottom using probably about 1/3 of an inch of the pinched part, and then I used straight pins to press into the hot glue, and then as the glue dried it held onto the straight pin and it just reinforced itself. At the beginning I had forgotten the tool to keep my fingers from burning in the hot glue, so I was just using my scissors. Sometimes I didn't fold it exactly perfect. I didn't want it to look too well patterned. I just wanted it to be fluffy. As you can see, I ran downstairs and got my protector for my finger so that I didn't burn myself in the hot glue, because if there's hot glue around, I will stick my finger in it. You'll see some remnants of hot glue on the pool noodle. I had started out thinking I would cover the noodle with just a flat layer of burlap so that if there were any gaps, it wouldn't really show the pool noodle, and that wasn't working out very well, so I just tore that back off. It took about an hour to make this, and it's the first one that I've made, but it's much faster if I could have just moved this quickly. Don't get nervous if it looks a little wonky as you start to move towards the outside. It'll all blend in together. You'll see you want to go all the way around the outside because people will be able to see it from a side view, either on your mantle or on your front door, wherever you hang it. You don't want that showing. See, I even had my green nail polish on. It was very festive, red and green Christmas project. This just gives you an idea of how much of the fabric I used at the bottom to secure it. If you let it go too quickly, the burlap won't stick to itself, so you just need to set it a little bit before you release your finger from it. You also don't want to get the little scraps of red burlap on your floor where they might touch the cat's water, because the ink or the dye just leaks right out of that, and I still have a little pink spot on my kitchen floor. Okay, then once you get everything on, you're just going to look around for some bare spots. I was pretty lucky. I only had this one bare spot where I could see the pool noodle, and then you can just go back and fill those in last. And all of these little threads, you do not want to start pulling them, because one leads to 1,000, because they all just unravel. So I used my fabric scissors and trimmed those off last. And then you can decorate it however you like. My husband liked the idea of putting glittery flowers on it, but I really like this Santa reference. So I grabbed this black belt out of my closet. I had it for a costume. You can pick up a wide belt at the thrift store very inexpensively. I'd probably cut the belt and not be able to see the back part and just attach it around the back here. But I really like this. I thought it was adorable. If you have a plain one, just add a little bit of bling to the buckle. There's just a lot of things. Some people cut out ho 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 and they attach that to the wreath. There's just a lot of things that you can do with it. I'd love to see your pictures on how you accessorize this wreath, so please post them and a link, and thanks for stopping by.